Hey, what's up? It's Emilio DiSpirito, and this is the Wealth Architect Podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you each and every single week. My team and I have hand-selected our guests to come on the program to talk about how to build wealth financially, mentally, physically, spiritually, right? There's so much that goes into building a lifestyle full of wealth, and we hope that this content really reaches you, not only in your brain, but in your heart, and that you could do something with this. So thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you, and we're going to have a great show. Hey, a special thank you to our sponsor, Annie Mac Home Mortgage, whose Cash to Keys product is disrupting the industry. Sick and tired of finding the perfect home, not having your offer selected? I got to tell you, it happens all the time. With Cash to Keys, Annie Mac gives sellers a cash guarantee for each of their buyers' offers. Stop bidding and hoping. Instead, bid with Annie Mac and bid with confidence. Don't just bid, but win. Annie Mac Mortgage. Have you ever heard of upfront underwriting? Well, I haven't until I started working with Movement Mortgage. Movement Mortgage is one of the top loan originators around the country. Specifically, I want to give a thank you to Matt Bates. And if you're lucky enough to live in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, or New Hampshire, I strongly suggest you contact Matt Bates at rimortgageguy.com. Again, rimortgageguy.com, and he's going to help you to find that dream home. He does upfront underwriting, which means they fully approve you for a mortgage before you even place offers, increasing your chances of winning that dream home. rimortgageguy.com. Season 2, episode 14 of the Wealth Architect Podcast. I'm Emilio DiSpirito. We've got an awesome guest today, Jim Murray of Lyon Property Management Group. And man, I've known Jim for probably about 15 years, and him and I, we'll talk about how we met in our first meeting in a little while. But let me just say, it's amazing to see what this gentleman has grown and what he has built, managing over 1,100 units here in southeastern New England, mainly Rhode Island, and his business all around just blowing up. So we're going to talk with him about digging out of the tunnel of Shawshank. He's a corporate dropout, and we're going to talk about that and how he created a life of wealth and freedom through real estate. So Jim, welcome to the program.
I appreciate the kind words, brother. It's been a little bit.
Oh man, happy to have you. You know, I've been wanting to have you on the podcast. We bumped into each other quite recently. Yep. We're helping a mutual friend, Greg Rice, Nexus Property Management, competitor and friend, which is pretty amazing.
Worthy rival. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. We were helping him to clean a historic cemetery. And I saw you there and I was like, dude, like, it was just so good to see you. So I'm glad that we had the opportunity to connect again, and I'm thrilled to have you on.
Yeah, super honored to be here.
Let's just jump in real quick and talk about like our first meeting together. It was at a local coffee shop.
Do we have? I'm just kidding.
Right.
Emilio and I were introduced through, I guess, mutual acquaintances.
Yeah.
And
my ex-wife, I think.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go there.
Yeah.
All right. So my ex-wife and Emilio's ex-wife were like, "Hey, you guys should link up." We met at Felicia's Coffee, and I can remember in like the first 10 seconds, I went to like shake my coffee and take a sip, and it spilled all over the front of me, and that's how the meeting started. But we were talking about how at that point, essentially, like we had two pennies to rub together as we were trying to start the build. And that was probably at least a decade ago.
Yeah.
Right. So to see where we both
13 years ago
have come and what we've built and what we've established is like truly something. And it's just proof of its consistency over a long period of time to achieve whatever outcome you're looking for.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, it doesn't come easy. And this is what I want to dive into a little bit today, right? So, you know, you've amassed, 1,100 units that you rent, but you also buy, I think you develop, you've definitely flipped properties, and you have a ton of rentals, right? Under your wing, under not only that you manage, but that you own. And more importantly, you're now teaching people how to grow wealth, okay? And you've been doing it through social media, through in-person training, which, man, I commend all of that. So from the 2 cents that we were rubbing together, I don't even know if we had 2 cents. But the story...
Do they make pennies anymore?
I
think they stopped, right? So
yeah.
I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to say that. We're going to sound real old.
Yeah, right. Well, there's like 300 billion in is it 3 billion? Maybe 3 billion in circulation in pennies. So it's going to take a while to
we got some time.
Exhaust that. Yeah, but people are going to be hoarding those, Yeah.
They're
going to be hoarding those. The copper costs more than the penny, to produce. So that's why. But ultimately, like, think about that image, right? Like, you spilt the coffee on yourself, right? And by the way, if it wasn't you, it'd be me. I spill everything, bro. My son does too. But that's literally how it is to start a business, right? You think that it's going to be easy, but it's the furthest from it.
It's not like Instagram. Instagram nowadays, you put up one post and you can make $1 million, right?
Yeah,
It's that simple.
Well, if you're you, dude, you
I
got
don't
quite the
know.
following on
I
there. You're
don't
doing
know.
great.
I appreciate that. But no, honestly, it's all about getting started, and it's recognizing that failure is important on the journey in terms of we need to fail in order to gain the skills in order to win at a high level. And it's being able to rework that, not trying to sound too cliche.
No, it's true.
But truthfully, it's a part of the process and a part of the evolution in order to be able to, bring our fruits into this world.
That's right. So, all right. So you don't just go from 0 to 1,100 units, and it takes time. But tell me a little bit about did you have this vision when you started? How did you even talk about your vision of when you started, what that looked like, and if you're there or are you not there yet, or where are you in that journey?
Yep. So I operate my companies based on EOS. So that's Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's prescribed by the book Traction by Gino Wickman. So if you guys want to learn how to run a business and develop that framework, Traction's the book. No royalties are coming out of this for me, but it literally sits on my desk and I read it like a Bible. So if I get stuck, I open it back up and dive back in to make sure that we're truly operating per that system that was already built for us. My 10-year vision is to manage 5,000 doors in 5 communities within our organization. So that's our 10-year goal. So we're not where we want to be. Along that way, we're now working to vertically integrate, but that's a long way from where we came from, truthfully. I started the business on a whiteboard in my tiny 1-bedroom in a 4-unit I still own in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, because my dad told me, go to school, read the books, don't swing a hammer like me. My dad was a union carpenter growing up. And he said, I don't want you to be old and tired like me. And I actually was fortunate enough to have breakfast with him this morning. He's 73 years old. He's retired now and he doesn't have much to do. So I'm like, why don't you come grab breakfast with me?
That's awesome.
And I think you'd appreciate this. So every week we review one of the 48 Laws of Power. So we have a conversation about the stories in that book.
48 Laws of Power.
So the women at Jeffson Diner, who I know pretty well because it's right by my office, they're always like, why are these guys bringing books into the diner? So we literally bring the books and it's outlined and highlighted and all the things. And it's just nice to spend that time with my dad to continue to refine and develop my skill set. But I can remember I bought that first 4-unit coming out of college and 2 pennies to rub together. I had $70,000 in student loans. I had a decent job making 50 grand a year, and I hated it because I was locked in the cage all day. And truthfully, the best way to build wealth is through ownership.
That's right.
Whether it be owning real estate, owning other assets, real assets. I mean, cars can be assets. Gold and silver at this point are on a tier right now, or owning businesses. So you get to figure out what you would like to own. I mean, you could even own music rights, but truthfully, to build wealth is through ownership. So very quickly after I got my corporate job, I realized I wanted to buy real estate to start to build that wealth so I could buy my financial freedom and time freedom.
That's amazing. And you did. So you started with the 4 units. Now, why did you go 4 units? Was there a strategy there?
Sure. Yeah. So this is a layup for me. I always tell folks, find the 4-unit. But 4 units aren't as pretty as 3s. And I'm like, that's right. But they cash flow better.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's still considered a residential mortgage. So typically in our local market, what I found is that 4 units typically trade for a very similar price point as 3s, but you have more financial security.
Sure.
So a lot of times you hear folks are like, well, that's one more tenant. I'm like, yes, that's one more rent coming in.
Yeah.
Where that first 4 unit, let's break down the numbers on that one quickly. When I bought it, I didn't realize how good of a time it was to buy multi. So I bought my first one in November of 2012, and my mortgage was $1,040 per month.
Imagine that.
Now, I buy it and I'm literally blowing out walls in the 2nd floor unit. I'm sleeping on an air mattress. I got a brand new puppy. It was a nightmare. I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
But got through it. I placed my first tenant paying $900 a month on the 3rd floor, which is cool because his son now plays baseball in Rehoboth with my son. So I see him at the Little League field all the time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, small
And
world.
he tells me, he's like, I wish I had listened to you, because he had a really good job at Verizon and he never bought anything. He's like, I wish I had listened. $1,040 per month, placed my first tenant at $900 per month on the 3rd floor, placed my second at $950. And I'm like, wait, hold on. So I'm at $1,850. I've got one other resident at that point paying $600 per month, but we had to rework her lease a little bit. And now you guys are doing the math. I'm way on the upside here, plus I'm living for free, and I haven't rented out the garage yet. Now, after my dad telling me this was the biggest financial decision I'll ever make in my life, buying a multifamily.
That one multi?
That one moment. He's like, this is the biggest. You should have stayed in school, kept working at Fidelity, the whole thing.
It's the boomer mentality.
That's it.
My dad too.
That's it. My dad still to this day. We're closing on a flooring company next week. This is the next major purchase in vertical integration. His words are, be careful. And I'm
Go
like,
all in.
I don't know. I don't think that word exists in my vocabulary. Like, it's all calculated risk. So I'm not saying to like go jump off the cliff and not have a game plan on how to build the parachute or the propeller or the wings on the way down, but do your homework. It's still okay to build it on the way down, but at least have a game plan before you jump.
Wow. So that's amazing, right? Why do you think so many people just don't start? Do you think it's because they just take all that? And it's not that your dad meant to give you bad advice, because my father gave me the same advice too, right? They just didn't know any better, right?
That's it. Well, they want to protect. At the end of the day, they are our protectors, right? They want to see us do well. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with the corporate 9-to-5, but it's almost fail-safe, right? Well, maybe in today's day and age, you may work yourself out of a job, or there may be other economic influences. And that's where I wanted more control over my outcome as well. Right.
Sure.
So if I slave all these years for somebody else, and God forbid there's a riff, or they think I'm making too much money when they sell the private equity, you name it, I could be without a job like this overnight.
Oh yeah. I think like where else? I would rather be banking on my own success.
That's exactly right.
I know I'm going to show up. Right. You know you're going to show up. You know what you're going to bring to the table.
Yep.
And, you know, once you realize you can depend on yourself and depend on, obviously, God, right? That's first and foremost. But when you can depend on yourself, right, to show up and to do it and to work hard and give it all you got, you're going to succeed.
Yes.
You will. Why do so many people not do that, Jim?
It's hard.
It is hard.
It's easy to be complacent today. It's easy to scroll on social media.
True.
It's easy to blame somebody else. It's easy to lack accountability. That's the easy part.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we want to lean on faith a little bit, you have to think that when we surrender to the suffering in our faith, that's when all the fruits show up.
It's true, yeah.
We have to surrender to the suffering and go through the hard part. We talk about having crosses to bear, and you and I have both had our crosses to bear in this life.
Sure, yeah.
And on the other side of that is when God's like, hey, you guys put in the work, here it is. And that's a part of our faith.
It's true. Iron sharpens iron. And it's like, as a man specifically, right? Like, I need to be challenged.
Yes.
Like we come from, like, we were in the battlefield a couple hundred years ago, right?
Yes.
Like, okay. And I mean, some still are, right? God bless them. But like, we need to be warriors. We need to be out there. And what happens is now we have a complacent generation where, and not everybody, but you're seeing people depressed. You're seeing people, and by the way, this show is about building wealth, not only financially, but mentally, physically, and we've had on several guests about that.
Let's lean into that, because honestly,
mindset, man.
And I am not a mental health professional,
No.
but honestly, on some level,
I have mental health problems.
Sure. Honestly, in this world, we have, I would say, an epidemic or a pandemic. I'm not a medical professional, but in terms of these mental health issues that we try to solve with the shot or the pill, and I'm not trying to go deep down that rabbit hole, but truthfully, these issues, many of them can very easily be simply solved by taking better care of yourself.
Sure.
Which is literally like walking outside, being in the sun to receive that vitamin D, and then also like drinking enough water. Like most of these issues can be solved very simply. And I'm not a medical professional, but in my own experience, it's solved with movement, fresh air, and water. Truthfully,
It's true. Yeah.
one of the major things that I've done as I've developed my wealth is I've started working with an innovative medicine doctor. Right. So I can better understand my blood work, but also better understand how food reacts within my body. We all have these foods that will naturally cause inflammation inside our bodies, and we're all unique.
Yeah.
Right. So I've realized in taking this blood test that when I have cow's milk, so like ice cream, regular milk, you name it, regular cow's cheese, it causes inflammation in my body. And that's the one that causes the most inflammation.
Oh.
So the most interesting thing, and why this is, I thought it was important to share here, is when I sat down with this doctor, he said, well, what's the goal? I said, I want to be here to support my family for as long as I can. And he goes, well, if you heard of blue zones, and I'm like, I've never heard of blue zones. So blue zones are areas of the world where people live to 120 plus years old, like very easily.
Yeah.
And this is before there was a Netflix documentary. So if you don't believe me, go check the Netflix documentary. But these people lead very simple lives in terms of how to keep the inflammation down. One, there's nothing in the water. I won't go down that rabbit hole either.
Yeah.
But they have a great sense of community as well. And that's one of the things I highly value in my business. Like, how do we create that sense of community? And I tell my team, it's not just about helping you get better inside these four walls, but how do we help you get better in all aspects of your life? And it's different for everybody, but how do we our community, how do we serve as that guide for all these folks?
That's amazing. And so I have heard of those blue zones before. I was actually just with Meg Marie O'Rourke, one of my good friends. You know her, Harmony with Foods, Meg Marie.
Haven't heard of it.
So she's based out of Rhode Island, but her program on iHeartRadio is syndicated all over the country.
That's really
And
cool.
this is exactly what she does. And I was just, I was listening to her yesterday tell me about some clients that she helped, and this topic came up. And like how you feel is really how you're going to act, how you're going to produce, right? So if there's one place to start, it's like you got to control what you put in your mouth. And by the way, this is me saying this, and I'm having a hard time putting these pants on today.
Listen, I'm a recovering fat kid, so like I'm here for it,
right?
But honestly, part of that, not only putting what's in your mouth, but you're going to move our bodies, right? And that's been a major thing. Like as I think about folks that have built their businesses, at some point we're going to get complacent in taking care of ourselves because we're taking care of our business because that's our baby, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And in those points, like we have to hold ourselves accountable to get out and move more and also control what we put in our mouth, like you're saying. And that's where not only physical movement is good for my physical appearance, but also for my mental and how I show up every day for my team.
Sure. Yeah. It's funny. My coach, Coach Joe Gilmore, shout out. He's a real estate coach, right? And the first time I sat down with him, Jim, and I love brutally honest people. I love people that are just like, tell me how it is. First time I sat down with him, I'm on the computer and we're on like Google Meet, and his first thing he said to me is like, wow, you look like crap. But he used the S word, right?
Yeah.
You look like crap. And I was like, wow. And he's like, you show up like that? And he's like, you call yourself a leader? And I was like, whoa.
Coming in hot.
Yo. And I'm like, well, it's great to see you too, right? But dude, I was weighing over like 205 pounds at the time.
But those are the people you want in your life.
Yeah. And he's like, the first thing we're doing before we're talking about like business and success is we need to get you right. We need to get you right physically. You're going to get right mentally, all this other jazz. So I hired a strength training coach, Coach Kevin Kearns. He was on the program as well too. Used to train UFC fighters, right? So this guy came to my house at 5:30 a.m. every day, like 4 or 5 days a week, right? And this was going on for like 3 years. Then a month ago, I was just like, take a little bit of break. I am starting to feel like crap again, Jim, right?
Yeah.
And the whole point of that, though, is that I think is one of the most important places to start, right? Because if you're not sleeping well, you're not eating
And it
well.
can literally be a walk outside. It doesn't have to be some crazy workout.
Yeah,
If you walk outside, and I would say lose the headphones and just be present. Don't worry about what you're going to put in your ears. Just get outside, take deep breaths, take a walk. Like it literally starts there. It's that simple.
So, all right, somebody high functioning like you, I would imagine like, did you ever have like ADHD or are you diagnosed with that?
Undiagnosed, but I mean, my team will tell you I definitely have it.
Yeah.
Because as leaders, we got to bounce kind of all over the place and be able to, respond to many different things throughout the
It's
day.
a superpower. So let's unpack that for a second, right? Like, so how are you staying? Because you're focused, though. I know you're hyper focused and stuff. Like, how do you keep yourself organized? How do you keep yourself focused? Or does it just look like you are? And behind the scenes, it's like a cluttered desk. It looks like my desk over there.
It's so funny you leaned in on the desk first
so bad.
because people come in there like, that can't be your desk. I'm like, why? They're like, there's nothing on it. I'm like, yeah, I literally have a shredder and it's like Enron in my office. I want it all on the computer and organized because then my EA can help me. So my executive assistant helps out a lot, but I'd love to be hyper organized so I know where to find things. So one of the things, like working the corporate job for 6 years helped me tremendously. And you start talk about having an empty mind, not having to worry about everything. So like I have Google Keep on my phone where I just have checklists. Anything, actually, like before we started this, I was filling out something on my checklist. Lucas probably saw us or saw me filling it out.
Yeah.
But I keep those checklists so I can have an empty mind so I can be more present in this conversation.
It's beautiful.
But organization to me is super important. So then I know that things are taken care of all the way down to like SOPs for the business.
Standard operating procedures.
I can't sit here with you unless I know that things are taken care of.
Oh, yeah.
I love Andy Frisella. Andy Frisella has a program called the Live Hard program. A lot of people have heard of 75 Hard, but they haven't heard of Live Hard. That Live Hard year I completed 3 years ago.
Is that like 100 hard? And 75 hard?
No,
Is
so there's 4 phases in the Live Hard program. 75 Hard is the first phase.
Okay.
And then honestly, the toughest phase is phase 1 thereafter. Phase 1, 2, and 3 thereafter are all 30-day programs. But the Live Hard year, that set me up so much 3 years ago when I ran it.
I remember you doing that.
Huge. Honestly, that was a huge reset in my brain. But what Andy talks about He talks about your Power 5 list every single day. So when I started running the Power 5 list, it was static because I was trying to develop good habits. When something becomes a habit, remove it from the Power 5 list. Now, I recognize in order to lead my organization appropriately, my Power 5 list is literally going to change every day. What are the top 5 things I need to complete in order to move the needle for our organization? So I'm either writing that the night before, or I'm writing it the morning of.
Wow.
Normally, like after I get out of the gym, I've got a couple ideas popping. I'll fill out, there might be a couple of things that I'll carry over. But for the most part, my Power 5 is finished like as I'm heading into the office of like, all right, these are the most important things. Because, you know, when we wake up, there could be that message on the phone of like, all right, that is now most important.
It's nonstop. Yeah. I love that. That keeps you definitely on track. I love that. I'm going to adopt that. If you're listening to this podcast, you either own or will own a home, a car, and need life insurance. That's why you should check out our friends over at LaPointe Insurance, LaPointeINS.com. These guys are the best in the business. They can help you if you're in Rhode Island or Massachusetts. And let me tell you something. His dedicated team of professionals are there to assist you and meet you where you're at. You never feel like you're being sold. You felt like you're being helped. It's a family tradition over at LaPointe. Check them out, LaPointe Insurance.
I have another good one here. Now it's moving.
Let's go. It's rolling.
The drip matrix. Are you familiar with this?
No, never heard of it.
I've been hot on the drip matrix. So I love Dan Martell. The drip matrix is delegate, replace, invest in production, investment in production.
Okay.
So as a leader, you got to think in order for you to continue to elevate, in order to chase the next big thing for your organization, you need to stay hyper-focused here. You can't be completing tasks that you should be delegating.
You can't do administrative stuff.
Right? Like we met your transaction coordinator before we came in. Amazing. And you were saying, all right, this gentleman takes care of 60% of the body of work compared to most transaction coordinators, 25% on a transaction. That allows your agents within your organization to stay in that production matrix. So it's a Punnett square. And essentially that production matrix is highest level of happiness and highest level of dollars. Investment would be, this makes you money and you hate it. So like I'm building the budget for my companies for next year. I can do it. I'm formerly a financial analyst. I hate it. I don't want to do it. So now I'm going to complete that. And at the same time, I am delegating that stuff next year, right? So how do I make this repeatable? Invest the time and then delegate that.
That's huge.
So that drip matrix, it literally stays on my whiteboard of, all right, what am I working on right now? Should I be doing this? Is this in the production quadrant, or do I need to move this to one of the other quadrants?
All right, so it's quadrants. All right, so there's 4 squares, okay? The D is for what again?
That is for, it makes you happy,
okay,
but lowest dollars.
Okay.
So you need to delegate.
And what does D stand for again?
Delegate.
Delegate, okay, all right.
And then you move down.
All right.
And it's low dollars and low happiness, and that's replace.
Okay.
You move to the right.
Yeah.
High dollars, low happiness.
Okay.
Investment.
Yeah.
High dollars, high happiness, production. Wow. That's where you want to stay. You want to stay in that top right quadrant.
Producing, right? So then now your production, give us a sample of that. Can you give us a sample of like some quadrants you're working on, or can you share that?
Like I'm recording this podcast, I'm living in my production quadrant.
Yeah.
Because hopefully from recording and sitting down with you, either I pick up something from you or, one of your listeners, followers,
subscribers,
is like, hey, Jimmy, that was super cool. How do I learn more about it? Maybe we bring on another landlord, or there's some other opportunity that comes out of this.
Always, yeah.
But my production quadrant is getting out, meeting with folks, and uncovering more opportunities to bring back to our brand.
Yeah, and that's like being the visionary, the chief visionary officer of your company. That's your job. That's our job. That's what we need to do.
Well, that's the other thing. We may trade ideas here, and I may be like, you know what? I didn't think about that. That's brilliant that Emilio said that, and now I can take that idea. And my job as chief visionary officer is I have a bunch of crazy ideas.
Boom, yeah.
And then my integrator is like, okay, that one's good. These other 12 are awful. Let's go back to the drawing board, and you can come up with more ideas.
Yeah.
But that's our role, right?
Let's talk about that, right? Because that's in that book Traction too, or Rocket
Fuel. Yep.
Great book, right?
Yep.
So it talks about the visionary and then the integrator. So you have an integrator. I do too, thank God, okay? Because when you're just a visionary, what do? You're running around in circles chasing your tail.
Yes.
Right? And coming up with all these wild ideas, and if nobody's putting them into systemized action, nothing's happening, right?
That's it.
Okay, so like let's talk about how did you find your integrator, and how does a visionary find an integrator?
It took me 10 years. Is that awful to say?
No,
truthfully.
Dude, it's
I struggled my way through it. Fortunately, and I go back and forth with my team on this. I'm huge I know that one of my flaws as an entrepreneur is like, I believe that people can be like me and just like figure it out and
same.
figure it out at a fast pace.
Yeah.
Like I just believe in people. And honestly, like that's a flaw. Like that's my kryptonite because fortunately I have a great skill set. A pat on the back is a foot away from a kick in the you-know-what, so we'll leave that there. Along the way, I've leveraged the crystallizer assessment, but I've never been able to attract a proper integrator that like truly balances me out. So my current integrator now is Mark. And Mark tells everybody like, Jimmy's the gas and I'm the brakes. And I'm like, but fortunately, he only taps in the corner so I don't crash. So we still move at a very fast pace. How I found Mark, we had a gap in the organization about a year and a half ago. And I realized like I really needed to make an investment in a proper leader. And I reached out to an executive recruiter. So one of the big things that honestly, I don't give a ton of airtime to on my own social channels is the investment that I make in coaching. So legitimately over the last 2 years, I've invested over $100,000 in coaching to surround myself with the right people,
So smart.
but then also find the holes in my game. So one of those investments was joining Apex down in Dallas, Texas. So I'd fly down on a quarterly basis and spend 2.5 days with some of the most gifted entrepreneurs in the country, also looking to build. And we're sitting there and we're trading ideas on what's working, what's not working, sharing dinner, and just going through it. And then I had met a gentleman down there that ran an executive recruiting business. And he said, hey, listen, have you ever thought about working with an executive recruiter? I'm like, I have no idea what that, I don't know. Like I've heard, like I've had headhunters reach out to me. I don't know what you do. And he said, we only charge 10% of whatever the salary is. And I was like, well, that makes sense. We went through a bunch of folks through the headhunter. It was my first time working, so we really had to dial in what I was looking for. I had to learn how to work with them and vice versa.
Sure.
And it was such an eye-opening process, but that's where we found Mark. Mark had lived in Atlanta for 20 years. He had moved home. He had a couple jobs up north of Boston, didn't really love it. And he was trying to find the right fit. And he's a little bit older than me. And like, I joke that he's my bodyguard because he's also 6'4". So when I'm standing next to him, I'm like looking up to him.
Nice.
But Mark's like my protector. That integrator is going to protect that visionary, right? And also help drive those ideas and put them into action so we can truly scale the organization.
That's right.
Shout out to Tim Madden of Executive Upgrades. He helped me tremendously.
Executive upgrades.
Executive Upgrades.
So, all right. So it's 100,000 that you've invested in this network and in coaching, basically. Okay. And then you probably invested some money, the 10% of the salary, which we don't need to disclose that, right? But you've invested significantly. But have you already seen the fruits of that? And how long do you think that the return on investment is going to take to occur? Or can you even answer that?
It's already happened. So
amazing.
Here's a perfect example, and I'll try to keep this high level. I'm just a nerd, and I love to go deep.
I love the nerd stuff.
So beginning of the year, I joined Cody Sanchez's network. So many of you guys listening have probably heard of Cody Sanchez. She's all about Main Street over Wall Street. So how do we keep the local family-owned businesses on Main Street and not sell to private equity firms?
Yep.
Right? And I'm in her scale-up workshop, and I actually had this conversation with my dad this morning. I said, before I went to this workshop in Austin, Texas, I had to submit financials to prove that I was of a certain caliber. And my dad's like, really? And I said, but think about how important that is. So now I know in this room, all of these business owners have an income statement where they gross at least $500,000 or more. So we're all real and we're all looking to grow because that's a level of buy-in. And I'm sitting in that room, and as soon as we sit down, Mark looks to me and he goes, you realize the biggest problem that we have to solve today is you. And I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah, see, like
and
my
he's
coach.
He's like, you are the problem because we cannot continue to scale this business and reach that 5,000 doors in 5 communities unless we replicate you. So I had made 2 other sales hires within the management business, but it never worked. I didn't set them up for success. And that's true in scaling any business. How are you going to set up the folks that you're bringing in for success so then you can go focus on the next component? So this is literally what I did. I realized I had to record all my sales phone calls with Plod.ai. I recorded them for 3 months. Thank God for AI on some level, not all levels, but on some levels. I took all of those transcripts that were now recorded to my phone, dropped them into ChatGPT. And then in ChatGPT, I said, I need a 1-pager that shares out value proposition and how I frame it.
That's awesome.
And then I need another 1-pager in terms of my one-liners and my NLP that I use to close, so neuro-linguistic programming. So I can hand that to someone coming in the door. And then the other thing is, like, you've probably heard it, property managers have a BDM. So we have a portfolio growth specialist. So like truly reframing the role. So you guys want to hear numbers. In reworking this whole sales process and finding a portfolio growth specialist, I've been able to build a system where our portfolio growth specialist is now onboarding $20,000 a week in new business, annualized revenue. And this year we've onboarded $922,000 in additional annualized revenue.
Wow. That's wild. 10x.
dive it, but like getting into the room. So if you're like, wow, Jimmy, you've spent $100,000 over the last 2 years. Well, just
You've
this one
invested it.
program, right? So if I operate my business at a 20% margin, there's a 2 times return.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, it was $6,000 to get into that room.
It's nothing.
So $6,000 into roughly $200,000 in net income. That's where people are like, well, I'm worried to make the investment. Well, do you believe in yourself? If you
right.
believe in yourself,
Go
we're
all
gonna
in.
figure it out.
Go all in.
What's the worst thing that can happen? You start over with no money. That's actually not that painful.
We've been there.
I've lived through that. It's not that painful.
I find every last thing I do turns into something else. And sometimes it's like unexpected, right? Like it's like, BNI, Business Networking International.
Yep.
You know how many of my friends are like, why do you go to that? It's a waste of time.
I think it's great for a realtor, by the way.
I think it's great for any business, by the way, right? You know why? Because you're sitting down in a room of 30 people that are all business professionals. They all run or own businesses, or they're all salespeople.
Yep.
We only know what we know. So
Right.
imagine sitting down with 30 local people, right, who have connections not only locally, but all over the place for everything and anything. So now you're sitting down, you're getting trusted advisors in any one of their fields. You can refer your clients to them, your friends, your family. You can use their services, but you can also learn how they run their businesses for an outside of the box approach in your business.
By the way, we were
Yeah.
talking about saying the production quadrant. How this is my production quadrant.
Yeah.
You just gave me a massive unlock going through that.
Perfect.
So I appreciate that.
What was the
So
unlock?
here's the massive unlock. I am looking for the next businesses to buy to vertically integrate my management company.
Yeah.
So this year we're on pace to sub out $3 million worth of work. Well, guess what companies I should buy first? The $3 million worth of work. So I know I spend $500,000 in plumbing,
Flooring, plumbing.
right? So that's what I'm looking at. But what I realized, at least from my experience in BNI, a lot of the folks in BNI are the BNIs that I've been to. I haven't been in a while, truthfully.
Come to mind.
They're a little bit older.
Yeah.
And they're probably willing to sell at some point. And a lot of these folks don't have a game plan on when they're going to sell
Most people
or
don't,
how they're going to sell.
Yeah.
Not shooting fish in a barrel, but that could lead to more opportunities to purchase businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my unlock. I'm like, well, how am I going to do this?
Well, there you go.
So outside of cold calling, but also getting in the rooms at BNI.
Bounce around to the different chapters. It's crazy. So every time somebody comes into my BNI chapter, that person brings in about $10,000 of production, but something even bigger happens. The average person knows like 600 people, and that's really taming it down,
Yep.
right? So think about it. You got 30 people in a room times 600. What is that? 6, 12, 18,000?
18,000?
It's 18,000 people you're literally getting in front of every single time you stand up and tell them what you're looking for, who you are.
On the low end.
That compounds.
right? On the low
On the
end.
low end, yeah. Now you do that.
That's before you get 1 to
consistently.
2 degrees out.
Correct. So the amazing things I have this brokerage today, Jimmy, Engel and Volkers, because of BNI, right? From there, it grew into all sorts of other things. And I don't want to make this podcast about me or about BNI, but I'm just saying network and
Yeah, but what you're
networking
saying
is
is-
so important.
Everything's already out there.
It's there.
Everything's already been done. So if there's an idea that's put into your mind, there's a way to carry it out.
right.
We truly live in the golden age of entrepreneurship. So if
Oh,
we talk
yeah.
about developing wealth starts with ownership.
Yeah.
What type of ownership do you want? And then go find someone on YouTube and go a mile deep for 6 months and figure out how they did it. I'm not saying to copy and duplicate their whole game, but there's going to be a couple of major components that you can leverage on your journey.
It's timeless. Look at that book over there, Think and Grow Rich. I know, pull that
love
out.
that.
I know you read that book, right? I think
Yes.
we talked about that book when we met, and I always bring this book up because whatever you believe you can achieve. The secret in this book is that you need to just take action. You need to take massive action, and that everything that you want is out there. You just have to believe it and you have to go for it. And it's so hard when you're starting to really think that, but there's something in successful people, and it is like an undeniable sense of achievement or purpose that they're going to hit. And we just keep going and going and going.
Well, think
and
about
going.
this. Not only taking action like you're talking about, right? That is component number one. All right, take the action. Number two is like you're talking about, how do I get in rooms with people of a similar mindset?
That's it. That's
Because
the most
that's the
important.
next level up. So if you can get
Yeah.
in the rooms with the right people and you're willing to take the action, the rest falls into place.
Well, let's talk about that, right? Getting into different rooms, because we were talking about BNI, but what are some other things, what the coaching programs, but why don't you name a couple different rooms that you've gotten into in the past maybe year, 2 years that have changed your life, your business?
Yeah, truthfully, I think so. If I had to give you guys a blueprint on how to execute against this, it'll be a little bit different than what you discussed.
That's all right.
You need to get into a room with other industry professionals, not in your geographic location, right? So for me, it started with the Doorpreneur program, coach out of Canada. And there were property managers all across the country, $10,000 a year investment.
Okay.
Not huge, incredibly worthwhile.
Yep.
From that investment, we realized that we did not have a resident benefits package, which now makes us $8,000 a month net without putting anybody against it. It makes us $8,000 a month. And that was one thing that I learned from that program. Program cost me $10,000 for a year. That was one thing that I learned.
Wow.
Think about the multiple on that one.
That's wild.
I'm just trying to tie it back to numbers, because if we're talking about building wealth, like, numbers are how we keep score.
Yeah.
So none of this is to impress you. This is to impress on you. It's highly achievable for you as well. Outside of the industry group, you need a local mastermind. Is it Napoleon Hill or Dale Carnegie that talks about the mastermind? I think it's Dale Carnegie. Yeah. Right. So.
Oh no, Napoleon Hill does too. Both.
Okay. Both.
Yeah.
Okay. So I am in a local mastermind with 5 other individuals, and we meet on a monthly basis, and we sit in the room and we challenge each other of like, hey, that's your goal. That sounds soft. Like, you need to go higher, or I'm really struggling with this. And then everyone else weighs in. Now, these are all other business owners that are, I think the way that we set this up is you had to be a 7+ figure business owner. Just because there's going to be some level of buy into the room, and you got to be at similar stages in life. So we all have young children as well. So family-oriented men, and then 7+ figure business owners.
Love it.
And so that's how we're tied together. But that mastermind principle, that's going to carry you incredibly as far as well.
Huge.
So I would say, like, those are the first, if we're talking about.
Sounds like Vistage.
What's Vistage?
Have you ever heard of Vistage?
No, I don't
know.
It's
a similar thing.
Okay.
Similar thing, but it's a little bit more regional, and there's like 20 guys in there. But
you know the best part of Mastermind is you get to pick who your crew is. And then you also get to adjust your crew should someone not fit.
Sure.
But I think that industry group, that industry coaching group, an industry leader in whatever business you're in or whatever business you're trying to chase, as well as that local mastermind. And then the last part of the blueprint, and we've both lived through this on some level, is having a supportive home life. Having a supportive partner at home, and having the appropriate partner at home is going to carry you so much further as well.
Oh yeah. So like everybody has different different kind of needs, right? Like some people, it's like words of affirmation. Some people is like,
are we going love languages right now?
Yeah. But I because I'm going to take it there, dude, right? Have you read that book?
Of course.
All right. The 5 love languages. Men, read this book. Okay. Like, it is awesome. And then have your girl read the book and like, find out exactly what her love language is. You may think you already know, but you might
probably
not.
Don't.
You might not, right?
Well, maybe you know the primary, but maybe not the secondary.
Yeah, right? But like, so everybody is different, right? And I think it's so important for your partner, like your girl or your guy, whatever, to know exactly what your love languages are, because that's where you need to be met to be fully supported, right?
Absolutely.
And you could be like the highest functioning guy, okay, out there, or girl out there, but if you're not getting that support from home, that weighs on you.
Yes.
And you bring that in. So that's such an important thing. I've seen men and I've seen women, I've seen people fall and just so many bad negative things happen when they don't have that support at home. So the 5 love languages I think is important. Mine's word of affirmation.
So my primary is physical, and then secondary is, I had to make sure I didn't look at you square in the eyes. We're this close. Then secondary is words of affirmation.
Yeah. Physical. So that, and mine's physical is second down for me, right? But imagine that, like, if your words of affirmation, your partner doesn't know that. And
think about this one though.
What?
On the outside looking in.
Yeah. And
I'm gonna give us a pat on the back for a second. Like 2 stud business owners, and you're like, these dudes just want to be told they're doing a good job.
And
like,
touched.
We do. Yeah, right. No, but truthfully, like, and that's that inner child work that you got to go through as well of like, all right, like, well, what's important?
Yeah.
And it's nice to hear you're doing a good job every once in a while.
Yeah, that's right. You want to hear that too, which is great, which I love that. My girl tells me all the time, you're doing a great job, this, that. Like, I could float off that compliment for 3 days. Like,
yeah, man.
There's some compliments you can go off of for like 2 weeks. Like, it's all good. Jim, what is, let's say this, what is the biggest lesson that you have learned up to this point about managing people?
You need to find people that are down for the cause and not down for the ride.
Yeah.
Right. So
friends too. Everything.
This might get a little sharp originally, but I think about like The Town. You remember that scene of The Town
Oh,
of like, hey, we're
yeah.
going to do some bad stuff here.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
whose car are we taking?
Yes. Great scene.
Right. So, and that's what I think about is as you start to build wealth and you start to build a culture and an organization, start to chase these things, it's going to be cool to ride with you. Right. And you want to make sure that you have the right people in whatever vehicle you're operating. And I would tell you one of the biggest mistakes is I started rolling with a lot of people who thought it was cool to ride with Jimmy, but they weren't down for the cause. They were only down for the ride. So find people that are down for the cause in terms of what is that long-term vision. So you're all moving together and not just there for that joyride. They're actually there to build for the cause and build towards the purpose that you're trying to bring into this world.
That's everything. When do you realize that money or investment into one thing is not worth it? Is it a time frame? Is there some other matrix?
That's really good. You kind of hit me there.
I got some others.
I had a great first response to your first question, but that one,
That's okay. Think about it.
honestly, so if I go back to personality assessments, I'm an INTJ per Myers-Briggs. So I am an architect mindset. I like to build things.
You're in the perfect place.
And truthfully, there we go, right? Wealth architect mindset. I am intuitive.
Yeah.
So I'm going to run it until it doesn't make sense. And I'm going to say for me, it's a gut feeling or it's some other barometer. Like someone might give you a little nudge. Like I truthfully believe in synchronicity and divine direction that I might just get the idea in my head of like, it doesn't work anymore.
That. Yes. Yeah.
And I know that that's not like the honed in result, but
I like it.
even like we set goals with our team this weekend and we'll have a check-in 6 months later because you may start to get after a goal and realize like, oh, this is not what I thought it was at all. I actually want to achieve this rather than that. And that's okay. It doesn't require January 1st to restart, right? So I think that's super important. One, like have a goal in mind of what you want to achieve, but along the way it might click of like, oh, this is not what I thought it was. Hey, I want to be a realtor that sells $20 million per year. It's a lot of work, right? Do you have a TC like you guys have? If you don't have a TC,
Marketing person.
Right, marketing person. There's a lot involved in that. You might get to 10 million, like, this sucks. I don't want to do this. I want to do something else. Right?
Yeah.
And that's okay. But for me, it's a level of action and intuition.
Well, you said something there. You said that like something along the lines after like maybe 6 months or so, or right around that review time, they realized that they weren't doing whatever it was you said, what they should be doing. They went this other direction. You wouldn't have gone that other direction if you didn't fail and hit that other direction.
Action.
It re-rats you. Like
you have to take the action in order to be able to get there.
And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? And that's fine. There's perfection and imperfection, right? And how about this? How about, can you motivate somebody to succeed, or does that have to come from within them?
I don't think you can. I don't think you can motivate people because I think motivation is fleeting.
Yeah.
Right? You need to help them uncover the discipline and the drive of like what actually gets them excited every day to get up and get after it.
Can you teach somebody to be disciplined?
No, but they can earn it. I don't think you can teach them, but they can certainly earn it. And it's within themselves. And it's all based on like what that greater goal is.
Yeah.
I mean, if they wake up and they don't have any goals and they're kind of happy where they're at, it's going to be very hard for them to earn a level of discipline.
Complacency and comfort is literally as like procrastination. This book talks about procrastination, and comfort is literally like the nail in the coffin. Right.
Procrastination in my mind is a form of depression because if you're procrastinating doing something, it's because there's some level of pain associated with it and you're just stuck thinking about it.
Have you ever been depressed?
Me, no, but I do battle anxiety, I would say, just to be upfront.
That's okay. I battle that
and
too,
it's like that 1 a.m. I'm wide awake sitting in bed of like, what did I miss? As on, right? Like literally like 2-3 nights a week, 1 to 2:30, I'm like staring at my ceiling. I'm like, well, what did I miss?
So
there's always something.
So you're not alone there, because I think with all the stuff you're putting on your plate, like you can't help but have that happen. Like
sure.
Like thinking about it, dude,
Even
I
with
just
a good
felt that
dosage of magnesium.
yeah. Trazodone, whatever you're taking, Lunesta, right? But sorry. So somebody might benefit from this, Jim. Like, how do you calm down? Like, how do you relieve that anxiety?
Honestly, I pray the rosary.
Love
That's what honestly helps me.
I love that.
The other big thing is I work out. So I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm to the gym by typically 4:50, and I hit an hour workout. Like I used to work out in a traditional gym, but I found that I really love CrossFit. It is hard every single day. It does not get easier. And then from there, when I get home, staying true to my daily disciplines. So when I get home after that workout, I'll read the Bible. I'll read 10 pages of the book. I'll write down my 25 affirmations. Then I'll typically jump in my cold plunge or take a cold shower.
Wow.
And like that dials me in. And it's not every day. It's not every day.
Intense, bro.
my floor. So this is what you have to decide. You have to decide what's right for you. Like that would be my perfect morning of how I hit it every day.
Yeah.
I don't hit that every day.
Okay.
I did not hit that fully today.
Yeah.
But my floor is going to be a minimum of Bible and affirmations.
Floor. All right, good. You have to have the floor.
You can have some type of setting.
Yeah. Well, what happens if you don't hit that floor? Do you force yourself to do it at some point during the day?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. Wow, that's powerful stuff. Jim, I could talk with you for 3 hours, like more, 10 hours, whatever. It's like that. This conversation is not limited, right? So if you're listening to this and if there's anything that, you'd like to speak with Jim further on, ask him any questions, he is readily available. I mean, he's easy to get a hold of. He's all over social media. We're going to go ahead and tag him in all of our stuff and leave some links for you as well. So Jim Murray of Lyon Property Management Group. And Jim, it's been an honor having you here, man.
I appreciate it, brother. It's been too long.
I know we got to get together more. I love seeing you rise, the ranks, not only locally, but nationally and internationally. So keep up the great work and the inspiration. Thanks, Jim.
I appreciate you.
Awesome. Great stuff. Make sure you subscribe and follow us everywhere you can. And feel free to reach out, leave any comments and any suggestions for future guests as well, too. We're looking for some great people to join. This is Emilio DiSpirito with The Wealth Architect. God bless you, and we'll see you next week.